Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone today? Sorry, no music. Sorry, my face has been breaking out like crazy. So you get to see me apply makeup on. I don't use much makeup because it definitely makes me break out even more. So we'll just do the best. That's good enough. Anybody gonna join me today? Sorry, no music. Sorry, no intro. I do like my intro. Just wanted to pop in. I'm still alive. Been sick, so did family function, and oh my goodness. My one family member is going off to college to do the music scene, theater, whatever, TV, I don't know. But this kid needs to be on American Idol. Yeah, that's my. Yeah. And as an aunt, yeah, I might not hear everything, or yeah, there were some glitches that happened last minute, but I think my family member overcame all of that, did a fantastic job. So, um, so we're excited to ship this family member off to college. I think everybody's pretty much either now have kids and have kind of done the whole school, shindig. Yeah, some are going back to school. So kind of cool. Yeah, quite impressed with another family member that went back to school. Let's see, in her mid 40s, 50, yeah, ish. So I'm assuming that they're glad that is all done, trying to work and going back to school and late in life can be kind of stressful. So, kids are out of the house. So, so that's kind of cool. Seeing, my family members be grandparents, it just tickles me. And, I can be like, make fun of them in my head, like how you know, kind of goofy and just like, my mom. So that that's funny. Just seeing them, dance with grandkids. And I saw somebody pop on here. I'm assuming it was a family member that just popped on to see what I was saying, but popped off, but that's okay. So I've got to do something with this hair. My hair is driving me crazy. It is getting so long. I do want to grow it longer, but I want to color it. And I don't know if I want to. Okay, birthday celebrations coming up here shortly. No biggie though. Turning 41. And I don't know if I want to try to find somebody to, because I can't really do massage right now, nor do I have the place to do it. So I can't really trade services. But I want to kind of find somebody to maybe do my hair, and have the professional consultation, because it's been forever since I had my hair professionally done. And, hairstylists, they've been doing hair for so long. I really don't want to do it out of a box. And I just kind of want to do it for my birthday. So, hello. Somebody gave me a like. So keep the likes up. So I kind of want to do that, but I'm cheap. So I might just do it out of a box. And then later down the line, do my hair professionally once I find somebody. Because I'm going gray. I kind of want to hide the grays. Grays are gonna get worse. Looking at my family members, gray hairs, and yeah. Although the other family member is doing a heck of a job being a grandma. So kudos to them. Anywho, yeah, it's like really, really getting long. This is the longest I've had my hair since 1998 when I chopped it all off. Started chopping it all off. And even that one, no, it was actually 2000. I want to say 2001, somewhere around there. Hey, Flash fan! When I chopped off my hair. I love Facebook memories because today, exactly 2 years ago, I had my hair really cute and short, and I look so different, and younger and thinner. So yeah, I was so peppy and energetic. Ooh. Oh, you can still take a nap. You can still watch replays. You goober, you you don't have to watch every time. You do you. Speaking of which, I'm gonna show you guys something kind of cool. I'm excited to send it to Shizzy. Yep, I took, pictures of Shizzy laughing, and then I'll have to show you how I collage my stuff, and then and even this, like, I had him looking up at Shizzy. Like, I couldn't find a picture of it looking up, and added the cups and made it look like I'm sitting there drinking coffee. Don't worry, Shizzy, there's sparkles, but it's in the paint, so it shouldn't get anything glittery. So, I know. But you do you. Cool. So I thought it'd be fun to do paintings for YouTubers that I watch consistently, and have something for them to temporarily hang up for a little bit. And he's just a fun guy to listen to, and I thought he could do something fun with the helmet, and so kind of crafting an idea to, and like we all say, Squid, me, if Shizzy doesn't have the time, or he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to. He could, you know, put it up on his wall for a little bit, and I'm saying a little bit, 90 days, whatever works for him. And then, heck, he could let me hang it up, see what we can do for you. I think it would just, that's how life works. Let's put it that way. So, and if he, puts it away somewhere and then brings it out, and then, let's say for some reason he and his wife and kids, or whoever, family, they move and they don't have the space for it, or, he can always send it back to me and be like, hey, you painted this and you worked hard on it, and, just like, let's say the monks that I painted a portrait of a monk, I gave it to the monks that came back into town, and let's say, either they can't accept it at the monastery, for whatever reason, they can always, ship it back to me, yeah, that, might not get, translated very well, but, sorry, guys. Still a coffin. So, as I was saying, I just was like, you know what? Create something silly. I think it's fitting because this right here, I changed the urinals into nuts. And then I added, guitars on the back. So I think it's a fun painting. And then should I add a little sleepy sloth? I don't know. That was weird. It lights up. That was weird. I don't know. Anyways, just I thought it was fun, and then he can hang it up. So, and maybe do some monkeys. No, not monkeys, monks. Tibetan monks. I can't talk because I'm so congested. But I promised you guys that I would get on earlier this week, and I think I'm going to be excited because I think I can go live on TikTok now. So I'm going to try that on Wednesday, but it's so stupid because these streaming, they don't have this software or whatever to stream on StreamYard or Streamlabs or whatever to do TikTok. So we're going to do that. Oh, I know. These Tibetan monks, they're the ones that gave me prayer bean. This is, I think he said healing prayer beans. I think they just picked, because I like my teal, as you can see, my teal colors. That's funny. Teal in this too. I just saw that. So, and I haven't really taken this off since then. I accidentally, was trying to take my bag off, and then it got looped on my bag and accidentally fell on the floor. So I don't know if there's any bad whatever. On that, dropping it on the floor. But anywho, so I might be getting another tattoo. I wish I didn't have to take 2 buses, but that gives me a good chance to go see my dad and then go over to my siblings to just hang out. Hopefully no grandkids, and see them for a while, help them do some Airbnb type stuff, and just hang out, see if my nephew and his new fiance can kidnap me. His fiance does tattooing. So, and she's just a lovely, lovely person. fits right into our family, I think. And kind of goofy, just like, my nephew. So I think she will do very well in our family. I'm excited. They're going to do a destination wedding, and then do, like, whoever can't come, they'll probably do some partying. So I'm gonna try to get some funding over to them to spend on their wedding, and get a tattoo. I kind of want, leaves that wrap around my arm, because I have my rose and my leaves up here, and I just kind of want to add leaves, and each of the leaves will have my nieces and nephews' initial in the leaves. So something that I've been wanting to do for a long, 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 long time, since probably my first tattoo, or even before that. So, yeah. I hope maybe one day I'll have full sleeve like I want. Someday. I don't need things anymore. I want experiences and tattoos. I've been kind of contemplating on getting a nose. See, now before you guys go all off on me, why are you going to get a tattoo? Blah, 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 blah. See, I am the fourth child. So I didn't really... I could have gotten away with some stuff if I really wanted to, but I was kind of the fourth child, but then the only child, because everybody was 15, 13, 10 years older, somewhere around there. Yeah, I know, I'm making you older or younger, those that are watching in my family, just to kind of protect your, Anywho, plus I can make fun of you guys online to the whole world. Anyways, and you're more gray. So, yeah, I'm gonna get shit for, saying that, because I know that they are watching. And it's funny. So, my family members, the last stream that I did, like at 9:00, they were literally, one person was on the other side of the house, and obviously, like I said, the other person, I knew they were going to go to bed, they go to bed early. Anyways, they were yelling across the house She's on! She's alive! She's alive! They thought something happened. But it's funny. You can tell, there's a little bit of Italian in my family. So when they really want to get loud and, yeah. So, um, so yeah, so it's funny just listening to, family members watching, later or asking me questions. Like, I'm gonna quote Squid here. Once I shut down, it ceases to exist anymore. It was in my head, goes out to the world. Once I shut down, it doesn't really, I could care less anymore, because this is my journey. This is to, I guess, shitless my brain a little bit, add a little bit of like, am I normal for these problems? Are these problems normal? And then, because back in 2018, when I started first venturing into psychiatry and psychology and going to therapy, and you realize that, yeah, they did the group therapy stuff first, or I did anyways, and you're still isolating, you're still, what you call it, you're like, yeah, you're externalizing it, trying to, normalize it, but then you're also suppressing your mental health. And then same for, individualized therapy. And so I think this just poops it out to the world. Yeah, you're going to have active criticism. That sounds normal, blah, blah, blah. And then, you get feedback, but sorry, coughing. Okay, I'm alive. Need to put these I call them grandbabies because, family call them grandbabies, great nieces, nephews. They're pretty awesome. I thought nieces and nephews were awesome. Sorry to say, but these 5 little ones, although the oldest one isn't little anymore, sadly, but they're pretty cool. I think it's just, I think we were so close in age with, my nieces and nephews. We kind of butt heads like siblings because we were so close to age, and now it's like I can really, really sugar you up and send you home here. And I think it's just cool. Being an aunt is pretty cool. I love it. I wish I could have my own children, and the funny thing is now thinking back to, all the times that I've, oh, maybe I'm pregnant, da 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 da. I could have this, age or that age, and unfortunately, I can't have kids without, having a second surgery. So, and my time is running out too. So I know that there's children out there that need a home, and I hope I can. The next, I'm really trying to find a job, trying to get back into the work world. Yeah, I'm taking my time still, but I'm still trying to push, that button. And maybe I the cool thing is, like if my siblings were a little bit younger, and they said, we wanted more children, but we can't, it'd be like, here. I kind of want to do a co-parenting, but I don't really want to give up. I wouldn't really want to give up my child. But then the cool thing is my nieces and nephews are, they're having children and, desiring that. And so, and I know what what it's like to, want that desire so, 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 so bad. And then, your body doesn't want to give you that chance in life. So, but I kind of want to do the co-parenting act, mainly because or open adoption kind of aspect. Sorry. Sorry, I'm coughing and pausing, but that's okay. Good grief. So just because I want to be in the child's life, But if I was younger and, said, I can't provide for this child, I would put this child up for an adoption, but it would have been a closed adoption. I don't know. And then I would probably find myself wanting to find out where this child was. So, but it's different now that I'm 40 years old, and it's just a different aspect. I would have been like, I just want, I don't know. I'm kind of getting into my next, what do I want to say? My next, not category. Why is my brain not functioning now? My next subject, I think I'm looking for my next topic. There we go. That I kind of really want to talk about. And so I think this is leaning towards that conversation journey. So, and I think what also helps is, I've had in the past opportunities to maybe adopt, open adoption options. And then, like, I kind of question, is there something wrong with me? This does not seem like endometriosis or whatever, however you pronounce it. Brain's not going to want to say it. Then first it was anterior tilt, pelvis tilt, maybe the uterus is tilted. Tried the birth control route, which caused more issues bleeding wise. I think there was like a hematoma. I had this bleeding issue for, 10 years, 365 days. And they were like, oh, I would call the nurse, and the nurse would be like, oh, that's normal. Clots this big, all day, 365 days a year. That's not normal. And then I'd go and get blood work because I would be like, my energy is low. And then now I have a lot of issues with vitamin B12 deficiency. So, and then, but I was doing that, and it got to the point where I couldn't work. I couldn't sit. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't, because I had to wear adult diapers. My job is pretty physical, and I've never experienced more gaslighting in female reproductive gynecology. It really took a specialist to be like, think I don't think this is endo and this is not PCOS. And I don't think this is tilted. I think, malformation is what I'm getting at. That prevents me from, I can have miscarriages and then, stillborn, even birth defects. And so that, and then, and to make it worse, septate uterus and bicornuate uterus are very similar, but guess what? I have the rare complete septum, which I had the surgery. I had urinary tract infection. Then I got the, I had 3 infections going on after surgery. More gaslighting. With that, a doctor, ER doctors, if you're out there, my surgeon that did the surgery said, it's going to be painful if you, need any other procedure. She yelled at me to shut up, quit my crying, because I needed a ultrasound, just to make sure that there was like nothing going on up there. I'm okay with talking about this stuff, by the way. I'd rather it be out there helping other women, investigate. Because in healthcare, nothing is textbook. And, if your child is starting, their menses, I love when doctors and nurses call it menses, and is having miserable pain, go and you know that you want grandchildren in the future. If your kid is, pretending they're mommy and, ever since they were little and continues, I think I was either 7, maybe latest 10 when I stopped playing, with baby dolls and Barbies and all that. And I wanted 4 kids. I wanted 4 kids before I was 36. My cutoff date was, 39. I bumped it up to 42, 43. mainly because I had, at the time, an awesome fertility specialist and at the time, and he's like, "You're 43, we can still, try and, this whole pregnancy stuff if you would like." Um, and then, so I bumped it up, but we're getting close. When you're 10 years old and, you have extreme pain, um, you're kind of done when you hit 39, 40, somewhere in there. But I really, 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 really want the experience. Like, so having family members that, did the embryo adoption, fertility stuff, just opened my mind, witnessing other family members adopt twins in front of a judge. I'm going to tear up for that one. Even, my other family members that did this embryo stuff, that's pretty cool. And gosh darn it, is 2025, as I always say, for anything. So if family members are watching this, later, let's make it happen. That would be the best birthday. Whether I do the surgery or do like an embryo surrogacy, open adoption, where I can have that opportunity. Here we go. Because there are a lot of people out there willing, here, willing to do that, willing to make that happen. No questions asked, Sign the paper, here you go. And I'm saying, open adoption because, or co-parenting, that way, if I hiccup with, my health, be like, bye, see ya, go here, for a few weeks or whatever. Or if I'm working, they can go see their other parents, yeah. Yeah, it's weird. But at the same time, I think there are some parents out there that deserve it, they deserve to be parents. and vice versa. I deserve, to fill that dream. And, also life is not picket fence. Life doesn't have to go in order. Life can be a little bit screwy. So anyways, and I and the hard part is you see kids and you just wonder um, what your child, would have looked like or act like, or that's the hard part, going through life, questioning that. That's the hard part. And I've been doing that a lot lately. If I were to have a kid at this age, or was that a miscarriage, or, um, that's the hard part. Or you look at a child and you're like, shit, I think, spiritually, they kind of look, like you as a child. Yeah, hey, Black Bear, welcome to the channel. Thank you for getting me to stop crying a little bit. Um, he's saying, hey, I'm not sure of your issue, but my daughter's having a bleeding issue diagnosis. I heard you mention my youngest was able to take something that started with a P, has a 5-year-old, hormones. Oh my goodness, 5 years old, hormone treatment. Let me grab some tissue. Hang on. Thank you for getting me to calm down a little bit. Girls and hormones. And I'm doing this live on YouTube, but that's okay. I rather people know about stuff, give information on my experiences, then they can research or please ask your doctor, first before you go Googling. And now we have Dr. Chat GPT and Dr. Grok and all this Dr. AI stuff. Please so back to, I have a septate uterus. I did not know that from the age of 10 to 35 when I started bleeding for 365 days. It's really started after I had something going on. They gave me the NuvaRing, and it started after I did the NuvaRing. And then, so I could have probably done one of those lawsuit things, because it happened right after the NuvaRing. 3 days of pain and bleeding, and I ended up passing out for 3 days because the pain was so bad. And I've had menstrual cycles that were extremely painful. Little did I know that I was having 2 periods. So I have a septum that completely separates. Usually when you're in your mom's belly, that kind of absorbs into one funnel. And so that septum, I think I also had a hematoma that just kept rubbing, and then that hematoma or that fibroid would keep rubbing, and then I'd start bleeding and bleed and bleed and bleed. And so they tried another birth control, that just, would mess with my head mentally, gave me that ragey, and I don't like birth control. It just makes me, a little crazy. And then it would also make me bleed more. Or I would have 2 periods at the same time or simultaneously. So that's why the pain would be more excruciating. Nothing like yelling and screaming. Why did, Adam and Eve eat the stupid apple? That's what I would say when I was younger. But Midol does not work. I don't do the whole tampon scene, never been able to, and I even question that because I would be like, I'm still bleeding these, so, which made sense because I had no idea. So now that you guys know all about my reproductive dreams and stuff. Um, I think we're gonna start venturing into that aspect. Malpractice. I could have had a malpractice, I think, with that. And then, oh, and looking back to when I had my surgery, there was a pregnant woman that came in, African American, lovely lady. She was, I want to say, she was 5 months pregnant, and she was ticked off. I think she sat there for 6 hours in the ER in labor. I was like, yeah, I might be having a UTI, kidney stone, giving labor. I don't know. Something ain't right with my procedure. But she needs to go in first. It was literally, I guess her insurance sucked more than mine and other, patients. This lady, I saw her later down the line. Unfortunately, she lost the baby. This or stillborn lost the baby because of insurance. And there were people in there in the ER that were like, she needs help. She can't just be sitting here in labor. Like and I think she even had to go to the other hospital too, and then ended up coming back for some reason. I don't know. And that was horrible. That was horrible to see, witness. And she was going off because obviously I would too if I was in that much pain and labor. But anyways, I hope that helped you back to Black Bear. Just if you could email me, living with no G, life with F and D, and just privately tell me what's going on. A little bit more details privately, obviously. And maybe I can guide you, you know, in the right direction. I can try to help you. I am just used to be a medical massage therapist. My expertise is in pain management. What else? Lymphedema. If you have shoulder issues like I do, wish I could clone myself. That's the other thing, I wish I had kids, be like, put you to work, child labor. Just, be able to help, with stuff, yeah, they need to be their own selves, but, I think it's because I also miss when my nieces and nephews were little, and, I could convince them. My one nephew is like, I think you owe me $10 because I did something for you. Which is funny. I'm like, well, now, if you marry that one over there, that little blondie, then I can pay you, which technically that money would go to her nowadays. Anyways, oh, I probably owe my nieces and nephews a bunch of money, but now it goes to fiancés, and then it goes to children now. But can't guarantee that with, living on limited income now. Or I could just tell them, go ask my family member who was conned into by not me, but the state rep person was like, you're required to have a payee. Go ask them. Send me a receipt. Oh. And I'm sure I've bought you a Diet Coke or something. So, but it's hard also having 10 nieces and nephews and 5 great nieces and nephews. They're pretty awesome though. Love you guys. I know you guys are so busy out there working the world and doing your things and having kids. But I kind of miss the, I could con you into, helping me do something, or although when I would get conned into stuff by my siblings, 25, I would only get 25 cents. So I might have to research on how old I was. I was probably about 7 at the time. So my now in-law would con me into doing stuff, 25 cents. So if my nephew was, 7 at the time, that was expensive. I call that inflation. Real inflation. Anywho, that's a lot of money. So we're gonna have to figure out how old my nephew was, and if he was younger than 7 years old, we're going to have to, I don't know, do something funny. Hey, Yvonne. Sorry I got on a tangent, but I know I don't need to be sorry, but it's finally confirmed. Welcome to epilepsy and non-epilepsy. I don't know. Non-epileptic seizures. I don't know. I think healthcare needs more training on seizures, to be honest, after 2 years ago. The experience, especially non-epileptic seizures, especially in neurology. I don't know why neurology has split. Epilepsy and non-epileptic seizures. Yeah, I'm kind of tired of this. It still involves the brain, you know? If you're, I wish neurology would go explore continuing education in psychiatry, but then psychiatry also needs to explore neurology, join forces, because there's a lot of corruption and now Yvonne, you got me on a tangent. There's a lot of bullshit in psychiatry. Prescribing seizure meds for psychiatry. Yeah. That's good. I'm glad that you found a good neurologist. What gets me is the neurologist that did this was literally getting pissed off because I was like, neurology, psychiatry, non-epileptic seizures are still involve the head, still involve the brain. He was literally getting irate, spitting on me from a distance, obviously not on me, but you could see spit coming out of his mouth because he was so irate, because I was like, well, you need to send me to psychiatry, which was, and then when I was in psychiatry and then I went back to him, you get all pissy. I don't get it. And then this new neurologist was like questioning me why I got basically fired, the neurologist, because you act in very unprofessional. very unprofessional. And then this is ultra unprofessional. I don't know. But then my favorite neurologist, who doesn't exist outside the hospital, I would see him. I wish you could just see a doctor that works for you, and stick with the same doctor. Once upon a time, and before the pandemic, before the recession, I'm going to say the recession because everything changed. You used to be able to see the same doctor. They knew who your mother was. They knew, your dad's health issues. They might even know your siblings' issues. Once upon a time, even way before my time, doctors came to your home. Once upon a time, I don't know. Just and then let's get on a tangent about PT. Why is PT now? I thought PT they did a little bit more the neuromuscular re-education, not so much the hands-on, but they still, now they're splitting hands-on and neuro in PT. What is that going to do? It creates the mess of, we're going to ping pong you to different specialists, and I was hoping that I would get more likes with me doing this. I am so tired of healthcare. I'm really, if you watch Squid, she's been doing corruption, fraud in healthcare. I need to get on your channel. We can have a little chat about healthcare and the corruption and all the bullshit, the gaslighting. It's crazy. It cray. Yeah. Yeah, and then when you experience what I've experienced with going through having stroke, paralysis, then you're in the hospital, your expectations, because I should have, could have, whatever. I wish I could have worked with more PT people. So then, I had more experience, being a medical massage technician. But here's the thing, they see it as therapeutic, relaxation. I don't have experience, which is bullshit. I have a lot of experience. Gain more knowledge, gain, more understanding on insurance. I wish, sorry, I wish I was able to work in my dream job. My dream job was multiplex, working with doctors, nurses, rehab, PT, chiropractors, acupuncturists, all in the same building. My big dream many, many moons ago, but this has changed since my experience with healthcare and trauma. And being diverted into all sorts of doctors that, know nothing about my history or what FND is, or they think they do, or they Google it and then they misread the misconception and I'm fucking faking this. And how in the fuck do you fake a seizure is my question. My brain shut down and I don't know how you can fake something when your body is just doing whatever the fuck it wants. So, and then you experience more trauma because we're going to gaslight you. We're going to verbally and, force you to do something because we think you're doing something fake. You're faking paralysis. You're faking your seizures. I don't know how. Talk to this. I can't move when I'm in a temporary paralysis. My brain shut down. And then the most ableist thing anybody can say is, on top of that, oh, you're using your walker as a crutch. No, but then, backtrack, sorry. Then explain why I'm having pain, why I have seizures, overexerting, chronic fatigue, so bad that you can't get out of bed. You sleep anywhere between 7 to the most I've ever slept is 23 hours, just enough to get up and pee. But the cool thing is I was highly allergic to Cymbalta, and I didn't want to taper off of it too fast and then end up having more issues, which now I am realizing that a lot of my issues was because of Cymbalta. And the more I tapered off, the less sensory, the less seizures, the less stuff was happening. I feel a lot better. I seem the nice thing about being with family, you are with your people that know you, since birth, know what you're like. So without, really giving you criticism, it's lovely to be around the people that, you've been around your whole life, and without really asking, hey, do I seem better? You can evaluate you internally without, needing their criticism. So I notice, the past few times, I feel less. I honestly think a lot of people's mental health is because we are being lied to. Now, I understand if you have family genetics, or that causes you to be addicted, or, have the addiction, or you're schizophrenic or bipolar history, your great-great-grandmother was kind of little OCD and, had seizures or whatever. And so, and you kind of see the hereditary history. Now, I'm not going to deny that could I, be bipolar? Could I have, seizures? Now I do, because they are not doing testing on medication for more than a year. And now our healthcare system is brainwashed. I feel like we're being brainwashed, to be honest. that we have a chemical imbalance and then we need to be on this medication forever, and without doing much testing. We do have a test, genetic testing, to see if, we respond. It's not a genetic testing, to see hereditary, blah, 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 take this medication. It's more responses to, medication. It's not all guaranteed, but like I said, with the aspect of, we got the black box warnings, but if you get tested for, psychiatric medications, that gives you the pyramid, box warning, what to watch out for, and okay, I can't take this medication. I talk a lot with my hands. Give me more likes. Yay. So because I have been sensitive to medication probably my whole life. Antibiotics, have allergies. When the opioid crisis, let's say I think it's Norco, that's an opioid. Well, that gave me some creepy crawly. There, give me more likes for that one. Birth control, we've already discussed that. And I think we also have been brainwashed during the pandemic, when we were shut down and everybody was going crazy because, we were getting way too isolated and working from home and seeing batshit crazy in-laws, like questioning, our spouses, or just, and then, like, I like to stay up. I'm a night owl. Normal, 2:00, on a Saturday night. I like to chill and watch TV, and, Saturday night, I'm not going to do anything on Sunday, sleep in, that's normal. And somewhere along the lines, that became abnormal. And then that manifests into seeing, and I've talked about this, where if you see a psychiatrist once a month, let's say once a month, to just manage your medications, and that's a 15-minute unit. 15 minutes. We'll give The bare minimum is 7.5 minutes is the lowest you can in one unit. But you can see them for 22 minutes if you're lucky. But with the pandemic, everything crushed into 7.5 minutes. So let's do a little bit of math there. If you're doing that every month, let's say we're going to see the psychiatrist 7.5 minutes, and you will see them looking at the clock or kind of ticking, I think, watching the clock. Let's see, we're going to say every 4 weeks. So that's technically 13 visits. That's almost an hour, just a little over an hour and a half per year. That's not a lot of time. Nor do they want to listen to your whole life's history. They're just going to be like, here's a script for your anxiety. No, they don't really do testing. And I'm going to stress a lot about testing, genetic testing, because this could have saved me a whole hell of a lot of 3 months, 2 years. It's already been 2 fucking years. Saved us a lot of seizures, falling on the floor, hitting my head, and then the abuse, gaslighting. You're faking it. That's abuse. Oh, you're drug seeking. Oh, wait. No, I'm not. Okay. Oh, okay. Or what's wrong with taking medication? That's gaslighting. That's not okay. This is my body. For somebody to say that, not right. If I want to be holistic, it is okay. If I want to, heck, if I want to lion's mane, try that. Cool. Let's try the alternative, talk therapy. And I get on a rant as well about what the department names their department. Mental health should just stay mental health. Why do we need to change it to behavioral health as a department? I don't get that, because you're technically saying mental health needs to be stigmatized or tabooed as a bad thing. We're struggling, life struggles. It just doesn't bode well when you call it behavioral health, or you need behavioral health therapy. No, you just need talk therapy, mental health therapy. Why do we have to call it behavioral health? And especially, yeah, you might have somebody that has a problem with alcohol or drugs, or maybe they're, drug seeking because they're schizophrenic or whatever. Yeah. But I just, this needs to change. Like, why do we need to call it behavioral health department? Call it just what it is. Mental health, talk therapy. Just, heck, I would be like, okay, for a while I was like, why do we call the psychiatrist the shrink? We could go on adventures with that commentary because they got a shrinky ass brain. Quacky brain. So, anywho, have I lost you guys? Looks like we got one. Flash fan, are you still awake? Because I think you were going to nap. A nap sounds good. For me, it's probably a little bit too late. But even then, I'm like, if my body feels like it, it's going to just do whenever I'm on. I'm kind of trying to do no schedule, have no plans, no nothing. And I'm going to let my body do what it needs to do to heal. Because if I keep fighting my rhythm, my sleep rhythm, because even backtrack to that, I wasn't able to do stuff like I normally do. We'll just leave it at that. If my family is, listening in, because it was strange. I had problems. I didn't have problems. It was the other way around. And had responsibilities, and then it just creeped more and more responsibilities, to the point where I had no life. Yes, Yvonne, my dad and my stepmom, I think it was my stepmom that every day they take a half-hour nap, but my dad was adamant about taking an hour nap. Just wasn't enough time for that old man. So every day they shut down all electronics, everything gets shut down. And at this time, based on what they read in an article or something, and taken out. So, yeah. And by golly, if you interrupt that nap, you might as well ground yourself because we're getting too old to, be grounded. But it's hilarious. Old people just crack me up. And the older my parents get, they're more like maybe I should say I have kids now because they act more like teenagers in their old ways. Took care of a 93-year-old lady years ago, and boy, she was, there was one day where I was like, what are you doing? You're gonna go get into trouble, because that lady wanted to have a drink every night, which was fine, but I didn't really. This was before I knew that she was like snooping around and, kind of like, I think your mom has dementia going on. And so I just kind of follow and just kind of evaluate and be like, I don't know. Anyway, she turned around. We were on the steps, luckily on the bottoms of the steps, which was an L shape. So I was on the landing part of the step, the L shape, and I made a comment, hey, what are you doing? Just casual. And she turns around and she's like, I'm 16 and I can do whatever I want. Of course, 93. Oh, I'm like, well, thinking in my head, you're the oldest 16-year-old on this planet. We put you on Guinness Worlds of Records, for being the oldest 16-year-old. That was when I was like, I think we got dementia going on. So, which that job turned into full-time caregiving. I loved it. She was a great lady. Oh man. And I've probably recorded this, about her. She would go and exercise in their 3-car garage and just, get exercise because, it was snowing at that time. And being 93, she didn't need to be out shoveling the snow. Yes, she shoveled the snow until she was about 90 years old. Just, she didn't really need to because they had services going on. And but she would do it, I think she would actually do it around the mailbox, just enough to still get mail and whatever to help the mailman, but whatever. And then the walkway. But yeah, she would move the golf cart out of the way. Little did we know. She would move the golf cart out of the way and help herself to the refrigerator that had all non-alcoholic, the beers that have, not much alcohol. But she would help herself to all that. And then move the golf cart. It was off the brake. If it was on the brake, I don't think she would have any clue then. And then move it back. Unfortunately, I now know if I ever do that again, to make sure, golf cart isn't getting all scraped up. Yeah, that was, that was, her daughter, didn't have children, so her mom became, her little teenager, I think. But those were fun times. And my favorite quote from her would have been, "I'm a sittin', not a shittin', but you shit a lot." Yeah. So, and then just, I would love listening to her conversations, just kind of keeping an ear open just in case, because sometimes she would think the remote was the telephone, and then she would have problems, and so I would help her with the telephone and remote sometimes. And then, my favorite story is her sibling was, I want to say, she was 93, so 89-ish, 88, somewhere around there, 90. And they used to go to this family restaurant 45 minutes out of town. Her sibling lived probably about 2 hours away. So they thought it would be, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's have you come up and do kind of a sibling outing. Let's go eat lunch. This was rough because, I instantly called his daughter, and I was like, I think your dad also has dementia. Time to take his keys away. He drove up. We go out to eat. He's driving. She's in the front seat. I thought I was going to die. Because he's swerving. I don't know where we're going. I don't know. Just like the vultures on the Lion... No, not the Lion King. The Jungle Book, where... You know where we're going? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. And it's like, yeah, I'm driving you guys home on the way back. He wouldn't have let me, but I was like trying my hardest to insist on driving them both back. Then you can talk, but with dementia, you just let them roll. But luckily, we were in, cornfield, Indiana, back road, so it wasn't, anything crazy. But I was just like, oh God. It was funny. Oh. And then, yeah, I was like, I want to make sure your dad got home. Can you check? Think the keys need to be hidden. Of course, my grandma drove, and I think she was 90, 93, somewhere around there, still driving. I don't know what that conversation was like. Should ask my aunt and uncles on that conversation how that went, because on that side of the family, we're kind of stubborn when we want to be. So, anywho, wow, I've been talking forever. My battery's like not even 25%. So, I love you guys. I hope this was entertaining. So hopefully I can get over this crap in my... It's been kind of a cold that I thought I was going to be over it. Really, it was like a 3-day cold, and then I want to say it was Friday when I was like, what in the world? What in the world? And it's coming back. Sorry, that was gross. Should have done that off camera, but it happens. It's not the end of the world. So, hope you guys had fun. And I'm starting to wheeze. So, I will catch you on the next one. Hopefully, in the next couple days. Hopefully, I can get over this. Friday, it seemed like it was coming back. Now I'm kind of wheezy. So, hopefully, this is not turning into asthmatic bronchitis crap. Humidity, weather, kind of humid, so that doesn't help. Growing, all sorts of stuff. So, oh, one more thing before I leave. If you can find me these, I'm gonna post a bunch of these on Amazon. I need these. My birthday's coming up pretty soon, so I'm looking. These are Elmer's. There was only one left at Walmart. They are discontinuing these markers. I am desperate because these are quality. The polkas are kind of I think, a combination of these and The Sharpies, I think they're in the bag. Sharpies are too opaque. They don't they don't mix very well. These work just like paint. So if I dab a little bit of water or blend two colors, I can blend them. Polkas are kind of more the Sharpies. They're more opaque as far as paint. Yeah, I can refill them. So I really, really, really need more of these. And I'm saying the black, the brown color, and then this is kind of an off-white, and the white. And I need medium tips. So if you find these, save them, email me. Don't go out of your way, but just, I need these, and they're being discontinued. Horrible, horrible, horrible thing, Elmers. Don't discontinue these markers. With that, thank you. Birthday is coming up next month, so feel free to send me love. I'm excited. We can celebrate all month. I'm not going to give you the exact date. Turning 41. Didn't really get a surprise birthday. I've never had a surprise birthday, I don't think. If I did, it was when I was really, really little, and I don't remember anything before, I want to say 7 years old, 6, maybe 5. So, yeah. I rather, experiences, versus stuff, but I am looking for these. And then angle brushes are also ideal art-wise. And then 16 by 20 canvases, but I like the panel versus the stretch canvas because I do a lot of 3D. And then I think that's pretty much it. Cash App, coffee. Those are other things that you can do. Go hit me up on some coffee. That's nice every once in a while. Gift card, whatever. But I'll say gift cards to go out, do Uber, Lyft, to go do stuff. Get out of the house. So that can kind of go in my go do something, experience something, go get your tattoo or whatever. Go out to eat, go to a movie. I do like movies. I haven't seen a movie in 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. Have some popcorn. But on another tangent, food is expensive. It's expensive to just get out. So those are some ideas for family, especially to get out and about, and so I think that's pretty much cuts it. Sorry about the TMI stuff, but it is what it is. We're human, girl stuff. Anything to help, somebody out there. And also, this is also for a friend out there who might be watching now. She is part of, she's struggling, and things will get better. I promise. Look at all the stuff, all the shit that I've been going through. I promise you, things will get better. And for my friend out there, don't get stuck in your brain. It's okay to stop and tell people to just stop for a minute so you can get out of your brain. Because I think people are too busy. We're too busy because life right now sucks. And, call people. It doesn't matter who it is. Call people. Message people. Don't hesitate, to reach out to people. If you're struggling and we're talking about housing, she's kind of in a housing crisis and no car, and, business is struggling, and, so that's probably taking her time out to, work another job, and, so she can't be consistent on business. So, and also I read something about, our town, Indiana in general. We're in a kind of a housing crisis, food crisis with, we don't have the, housing, we don't have the funds. And we're going to go through a shit fit, because we don't have the funds, and, I'm just going to say we're heading towards crisis nationwide, and Great Depression. Hate to say it, but you're going to thank me later when I warned y'all. Yeah, it's been out there, the conspiracy theory, but it's going to suck for a while. And I think I'm going to do something, but I'm kind of scared I'm kind of wanting to do this letter type thing. And that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I kind of want to do because this is worldwide. Anybody's watching. I don't know. It's an idea, and I know some of you are going to be like, just do it. So with that, so hopefully this will be in another location pretty soon. Also, I need to send it. So I kind of wanted to wait to send it to show it on my screen. And I hope you like it. I hope Shizzy likes it. Hang it up, Shizzy, if you see this, for a little bit. I am not expecting it all the time, every once in a while or whenever, and then you can enjoy it in, your own time. So probably have a fan mail location too. So alrighty, I think I'm done with my shit. My shit. Have a great day, guys. I promise you this is it, because I've been on here for 2 hours and I'm dying and I want to cough, and I don't want to cough your ear out. So I will maybe come on if you like this. Everybody like this if you watch the restream. Let's make it a goal. If I get, because I went down, I think I had 106, 105. Now I'm down to 102 subscribers. Let's say 5 new subscribers and 5 new likes. So I'm at 4 likes right now. If you can like either or, I'm not gonna, I'll get on tomorrow. So I need 5 new subscribers. We'll make it 3. We'll make it 3. Be kind. And then maybe 3 or 5 likes. Please share. So I sometimes do that. I forget to share stuff too. We'll just say 1 share. Lucky share. And that's how we grow around here. So subscribe, like, share, comment, and share the love. I guess it won't do it. Oh, there we go. There's some love. Share the love with everybody. Like they need to change that like button to a love bug. A love bug. I promise you I'm tired of ranting and raving. So, alrighty. See ya, Yvonne. Was wonderful seeing. Glad that you are making progress. Blackberry, thank you for joining us. I hope you come back, and feel free to email me, and of course Flash Fan, and whoever else was lurking, streaming. I hope to see you on the next one. Love you guys. Bye. I promise.